Test, test, test.
Hey, Mitch, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Oh, good. All right, it does work.
Yeah, I see Chris is there. Chris, can you hear me all right?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Awesome, I sure can. We'll go ahead and get started here, probably in about 5 minutes, guys.
Okay.
That's perfect. I just wanted to make sure my sound was working since I don't have a camera. Sorry about that.
Sound beautiful.
And it's a nice picture of you and your wife.
Yes, that's my wife.
Very nice picture.
I should know that this is an open recording. Anybody in the world can see it, so
Oh, okay, great.
just want to throw it out there. No, not that anybody that's on the call yet is going to be inappropriate, but wanted to throw it out there.
I did read the thing and hit I agree, but
It's always hard to know what you're agreeing to, really. Hey, Lynn, I see you joined. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome.
Hi.
We'll go ahead and get started in a couple minutes.
All right. Hi, Chris.
hi, Lynn. How are you?
Good.
So do you not have a camera?
I don't have a camera on my computer in the office.
Okay.
That works for me.
Yeah, I'm not loving the camera thing either, but
Chris, not that I'm suggesting you need to do this, but if you wanted to, if you didn't like looking at yourself, you could press the camera button on the top middle part of the screen. It will mute your camera.
Ah. Oh, like yours?
Yes.
Very cool.
But
Let-
Chris, I didn't want you to feel like I was telling you you needed to do that.
No, I'm glad to learn that because what I find is I end up looking down there at the little icons instead of like looking in the center of the screen.
Yep. Yep.
That's helpful. Thanks. I just learned something new today.
Yes. You are welcome to be. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and unmute my camera so you know I really am here. Hi.
Hey, Mitch.
I thought I heard Dr. Lunger's voice a little bit ago, so maybe he's going to be joining us here shortly. If we want to, maybe let's just start with Gary. I know that you were in the room with Chris when we met during the face-to-face, but I'm not sure that you know Lynn, so we'll go ahead and just do, Gary, if you want to introduce yourself, because obviously Chris and Lynn, they are right now probably about 20 yards away from each other in the building. So they know each other. So Gary, if you want to introduce yourself real quick, we'll get started.
Sure. I'm Gary Dancer. I am the principal at Lakeland Elementary, which is the 4th and 5th grade building at Coldwater Community Schools.
Oh, hi, Gary. I'm Lynn Palawata, and I work in the special education department here at Calhoun Intermediate School District.
Fantastic, Lynn. Nice meeting you.
Nice
Or
meeting you.
hearing you, at least.
Yes, and you know, Gary, I do work in Branch County also, so if you ever need anything, feel free, once you talk with your special ed director down there, which is Jane, feel free to give me a call also.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Hey, Dr. Lunger, how are you? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I just turned my volume up, so hello, everybody.
All right. We are just getting started. Gary and Lynn haven't met yet, so they just did a quick introduction. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if we'll have Jim joining us here shortly, but we'll go ahead and get started so we can wrap up here as close to 5 as possible. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. If you, let's go ahead and share. And you guys able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, so the purpose of this Hangout, if you were in session 1, it's pretty much the same as we did for session 1. We do 2 Hangouts for each session, and the purpose is to touch base with participants so that we can make sure that we're kind of on track and ask any questions, but also to introduce a new topic that will be the focus of the second part of the session. So to begin, I wanted to just kind of check in with you guys and see where you are with automating routine tasks. You'll recall that was the topic of our first face-to-face session, and hopefully by now you've given some thought to your automating routine tasks. Maybe you had a chance to post your possibilities, and even some of you, I think, have posted your learning artifact. So I just wanted to go through and kind of give you guys a chance to talk about what you were thinking about with automating routine tasks, and that'll get us going. So does anybody want to go first?
I'll jump in.
All right, go ahead.
Who said that before? I don't want to be rude. They go first.
Well, they're not going to admit it now, so it's all you.
Well, first of all, as I'm starting to look at this, I wanted to be careful that I didn't view some of the stuff as a solution looking for a problem. But I did look at, I thought Boomerang piqued my interest. And what was interesting about this, and I was talking to Chris Jenkins earlier, I have an interesting email. First of all, it's a sales pitch around healthcare benefits. And they put in the message reference, like RE, like you've already had a discussion. And so they gave the initial email, which I didn't respond to, and then they followed up with an email, and I'm assuming that was probably some sort of automated, very personalized. I don't think they did any merging of anything, but I think it's just a flow of sales type calls that are very, when I say intimate, it's like you know them or they talk with you. So what would that fall under? Is that a Boomerang?
Well, yeah, I think you're right on track that they probably have some kind of software set up so that they are checking back in with customers. So I think it would be similar. I guess for your purposes, what piques your curiosity about Boomerang within what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I see what I learned from Boomerang. It was different than, for me, it was like setting up emails ahead of time, or saying I don't want to. I'm aware of that. I'll put a date on it so it comes back as a reminder if I didn't get any follow through. So that's where I saw that value potentially. But I just wanted to. So that, I think that answers your question from that angle.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're interested in scheduling emails ahead of time and also using that tool so that it bounces back if you don't get a response. So
that might be my primary use, at least at this time.
Perfect. Anybody else? Chris, Lynn, Gary, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go. This is Lynn. First, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, first I just wanted to say this whole module is really exciting for me. It seems like we have a lot of routine tasks, and we're constantly having deadlines, and I could see almost every one of the examples is something I personally would like to learn to use. So, but because of time, there's only two that I believe I'm going to start with, and that is the to-do list, but I love the if, then, that program, because my wonderful administrative assistant created a tickler file for all of our to-dos, and I'd love to say if it is written in the tickler file, it then goes up to the to-do list automatically. So.
Excellent. So Lynn, the Todoist and the IFTTT are the two that stuck out to you.
Yes.
Do I need to give my second one? Are you doing them both now?
I think Lynn just found two tools in the automating routine task that part. But if you have another one you want to share, feel free.
Let everybody go through one round, then I'll just do a follow-up. My second, there has to be two, correct? At least two?
Just two possibilities is what we're trying to get you to think about. So yeah, we'll come back to you. Chris or Gary?
So this is Chris, and I just have a quick question about the Todoist. I don't even know how. So I tried the Google Tasks, and Mitch helped me figure out that you can't see it from your phone. When you go to your Google Calendar, you can't see your task list on the phone. So I don't even know where to go to download Todoist either on my computer or my phone. Could you help me out?
Sure. So I think, let me go ahead. You guys still see my screen. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm in Google Chrome. So that's one thing that you want to probably make sure you're doing. So I'm going to go just Google Todoist. And then this first one right here.
So that's where I need some assistance.
And I've already downloaded it. So it's not going to show you the exact same thing that you would see, but I believe if you Google it, let me try to go back to Google here.
It doesn't look like there's any data files. I don't know if it's from export file from Skyward or something.
So, Mitch, will this show up on my Google Calendar? Does Todoist show up on my calendar?
Yep. Let me go. Actually, I take that back. So Todoist doesn't show up on your calendar. I've got it installed here.
Yeah.
And so in Chrome, you can see up here, maybe you can't see, in the top right. That's not going to make it bigger. I've got this little TD, and if I click that, this is like what Todoist looks like in Chrome. This is called an extension when you put these little buttons up here in your browser. So that's a Todoist extension. But then if I am on my in my email, you can see down here that I have this little Todoist box down here, which is where the Google Tasks box would live.
Yeah.
But this is obviously Todoist.
Okay.
So and then on your phone, if you just go to the Google Play Store and type in Todoist, then you can download the app. And like I said, the big draw for Todoist for me is your ability to see your to-do tasks on your phone or a tablet. So I like that.
But it's a whole separate click away from your calendar.
It is. So there's a paid version of Todoist where you can pay to have reminders and do some calendar integration, but I haven't done that, so
Okay.
I can't speak to that part.
So, Mitch, isn't there a task list also on the present calendar, so you don't have to buy anything?
Yeah, so if you go to, like, so your calendars, here's the tasks over here. But the issue...
Terrence, do you have your radio on?
No.
Okay, I'm just getting some feedback. I don't know who.
It could, honestly, it could be me. Let me pick up my computer and go.
It's impacting our learning, Mitch.
It sure is. I'm going to Melinda's office. She has a door. If Mike were on the call, I would make that point again, but he's not.
Actually, that point was directed towards me, I think.
No. There, I've closed the door. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there is this task kind of integration with your calendar, Lynn. But I think and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you were saying, though, Chris, is that's not really available on your phone.
Correct. I love it on my calendar. It pops up and I have it there. But I was at home wanting to check my task list and pulled up my phone, and I thought if I went to my calendar, I'd be able to see it from my phone, but you can't.
And maybe there is kind of a cool way to do that. I haven't figured out how that works on your phone either.
Okay.
And I will say that I don't know if Todoist is the perfect solution to task management. I'm still playing with a few other ideas. Let me see if I can show you here on my calendar. So these appointments that are here in red, these are tasks. These are things that I blocked out time to do. So I don't know if that, that's something I do if I need to carve out time to get some things done. Like tomorrow I've got to do this MySchool data testing.
Yep.
So I just went in and created an event. The one thing I did do, and this is a connection to our face-to-face session, you'll recall filters. We talked about the Gmail filters. One thing that I did set up is I set up a filter so that since this is an event on my calendar, I get reminders, and so the reminders are down here. It emails me 10 minutes beforehand. Since I put the word task up at the top, I have a filter so that anytime I get an email from myself that has the word task at the beginning, it puts a star on it and puts it at the top of my email list. So I don't think I have any right now. No, I've done all my tasks for today. So this is kind of, like I said, I don't want to give you more.
That must be nice.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm done with my tasks for today. I've done these two things, so. But I don't know about you guys. I can sometimes get in this mode where I've got, I've emailed myself something to do. I've written it down on a sticky note. I've got tasks in like 4 different places, and I don't know that I've really landed on the best way to keep track of that yet.
That actually makes me feel better because I thought it was just me.
Nope. It is. It's funny. I think we talked about this in the face-to-face meeting. When it's really, really getting down to crunch time and I've got to get stuff done, then I actually go to paper and pencil and start making a paper list. So,
yeah.
Chris, did you have a chance to share?
No. So I am working on the scheduler aspect in Google Calendar, and so I'm planning on using this with my staff because I schedule budget meetings with them. So on Google Calendar, I can block off for whatever specific date, from 8 to 3, and then they can go in and I can set it up as 45-minute appointments, and then they just go on and click on it. I've tested it twice with Tim Staffen and Steve, bless their hearts, for helping me out, and it's not completely intuitive. So when you send it, there's a link, and then they have to click on a link below it, and most people just look at the link and expect to see it and don't look further down to click on the second link. So I'm trying to figure out how to, send a memo or educate them about how to do it, because it does work, and then as soon as they click on the time that they want, it goes on their calendar and goes on my calendar, and I know who I'm having that appointment with. So still working on it, but I think it's gonna work.
Awesome. One thing, Chris, that you mentioned kind of doing a memo or something, I wonder if, we talked about those canned responses in Gmail. I wonder if you might create a canned response. And those canned responses can have like screenshots or pictures with arrows. So if you have if you had kind of a canned response, anytime you sent that out, you could just add that, and it would, give them instructions. So that might be something to think about.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Gary, what do you got?
Well, I have picked up on Boomerang as well, and really have. I can't say that I trust it fully, but to track a reply, I'm using it as I go in and do an observational walkthrough and to schedule a feedback conference. Kind of, okay, send me some times. I still put it on my reminder list. For my task, I use a lot of reminders on my iPad to just track when someone's done something. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of get out of that and trust Boomerang entirely. And I also like that you can schedule a message to be sent. So a lot of times I'll remind, we have mobile staff awards called our Cardinal Pride Awards for curriculum, child advocacy, leadership, and creativity. And it lets me send, I've actually combined that with a canned response that I typically send them, and I can schedule that ahead of time. So I use that as an option to kind of schedule some of those canned responses that I know I have to send it, and I can just have it ready to go and put it off my mind.
Great. And the other thing too, one thing to keep in mind with Boomerang is there is a limitation on the number of things you can do per month. Ultimately, they want to get you to purchase an upgrade or a premium version of that. So I know that I want to say September, I boomeranged enough emails where they said, "Oh, you've only got one boomerang left," and I can't remember how many credits you get, but it refills every month. So if somebody figures out how to be really savvy and hack your time clock inside of your computer that can get around that, definitely let me know, because that would be really cool. But
I was surprised, Mitch, you didn't have us hook into a link, because when I figured out, I guess, how to download it or something, this one user got credit, and maybe it was you, but it didn't look like it was you.
Oh.
And then they got some free credits, and we got to spin the wheel or whatever. And then I have a little list that I could refer people to, and then I would get free credits. So I thought about
really
sending it out to my staff, so I could get all these free credits. But I want to learn it and play with it a little bit more before I do that.
Chris and I would like some clarification. So, is it, Mitch, are you advocating that we hack?
No, I think hack is a misunderstood term.
Okay.
Yeah. So
manipulate.
Sure. Yeah. Let's go with that. Align, manipulate. I think that sounds good. And actually, Gary brings up a good point. I want, perhaps Amway is in charge of Boomerang, because maybe it's like a pyramid scheme. I really just want to have all of you guys, get 10 people, and then we'll be all set. So, okay. So, Dr. Lunger, you had one more that you were going to share?
Yes, I do. It is it's basically, it's just using the Gmail task. Again, I practiced on this, and Chris got to hear it again this afternoon, but part of my using my white sheets of paper for my to-do list is part of it's processing.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that I think I maybe would use task is that Renee could be part of that, and then also I'm always on my calendar. So it isn't a case of creating something new that I'm not already half using. So that would just be a case of, okay, this is how I'm going to do business now. But then again, I go to the comment again, is it a solution looking for a problem?
Mm-hmm.
And I like my to-do list and my white paper.
Yep. And I think, like I said, one of my big things is I really want something that I can look at on my phone, and I just don't have a good system yet. But I agree, there's no need to start trying to find and create your own problem.
Can I also just bring something else, and maybe you're going to just have kind of an open forum, but so this morning we were talking about NCA,
mm-hmm.
and we're working on just going to the standards and reviewing them, and Sam Lutgren mentioned when we got all done with this one document that he would do Autocrat.
Mm-hmm.
It was just interesting that, again, whether or not I ever get into using AutoCAD or not, but the difference part of the time that these courses provide us is just the opportunity, and I think, Chris, did you say this already, that I'm just so much more aware of things, as or Lynn did mention, that just so much more aware by just being part of conversation, because others are using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is interesting. The more these things get out there, and I know just kind of in my circle of folks around the state, you hear some of those same tools kind of come up over and over again. So what I wanted to do now is kind of take a look at the second topic of this session, which is collaboration. Before I do that, does anybody have any questions about these 4 links underneath automating routine tasks on the Moodle page?
Mitch, I just had a comment. So, I went to the face-to-face and I thought, okay, I want to try this Google, appointment scheduler thing. Mm-hmm. And I got back to my desk and, a week later I went to go do it and I couldn't remember how to do it. And there was one setting that I couldn't find. And in the past, I would have just gotten frustrated or emailed you or Melinda or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I actually went to Google and Googled it, and I found exactly what I needed, in a matter of a couple of minutes. So what I said to Dr. Lunger today was, I think this class is making me, if it's confidence or whatever, but I'm just willing to click more and try things out. So
excellent.
For me, that was for me who gets frustrated really quickly and I want the answer right now. That was kind of fun to actually find my own answer.
Excellent. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you'll get a question and the only way that I'll know the answer is to Google it. So
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad. If it's a boost in confidence is what you take away, then fabulous. All right, so if there are any questions about these 4 pieces here, we'll kind of scoot towards collaboration. For those, I started putting this together, and for those of you who did the first session, I started to think about, communication and participation were the topics of the first session, and so some of the tools in collaboration are actually the same tools. So I thought it was interesting that some of the same tools, kind of like Dr. Lunger said with Autocrat, some of the same tools keep coming around. So I wanted to give you kind of a quick glimpse into what tools and topics we have for collaboration, and to do that, I'm actually going to pull up the same type of matrix that you've had for previous topics. And if you're curious where this matrix is located, it is here in this activity planning document. And it's right here, the collaborating activity matrix. So you're welcome to follow along, either just looking on my screen, or if you wanted to pull it up. I see Chris already pulled it up. It's totally up to you.
So you can see my screen?
I cannot see your screen, but I saw your picture pop up in the right side.
Oh.
Okay, so we can actually do both, because I didn't want to screw up getting kicked off, so we can actually get onto the Moodle.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, but I fell off, Terrence, because I didn't put up another tab. So put up another tab before you go to the Moodle site, or else it will tab on top of your
Got it.
one.
Oh, good call.
I don't think I said that very technically, but.
Well, the good news is I heard you through the wall and through the Hangout, so.
Yeah.
All right, so in thinking about collaboration, and I mean, please feel free, if you've got more topics that I just, Linda and I hadn't considered, feel free to throw them out there. We had documents, meetings, organizational documents, which that is extremely redundant, and I'll explain that in a second, and then project management. We tried to find, larger topics that you might collaborate around, and then offer some solutions as far as that goes. So. The first one that I wanted to bring up is Google collaborating on Google Docs, and so I've got a video here and also a little. This is just like a little web page of.
Okay, Professor, I got a question. So
yes.
did we? Was that our? I don't remember seeing. I remember seeing the automating routine tasks, and as you can see where I've checked off, but I don't remember, was the collaboration piece on there, or did you just add it?
No, I just added it. I just made it visible to you guys, I want to say maybe last night or this morning.
Okay, got it. I feel like maybe I wasn't paying attention. Okay.
Nope. That's I wanted to keep it close so that you guys could focus on the automating routine tasks.
Got it, okay.
So as far as Google Docs goes, one of the features that's really nice when you're using a Google Doc is the ability to add comments and suggestions. Has anybody done that at all?
No.
No?
Yes.
I'm using Google
Yes.
Docs now. Chris can attest to that.
Yeah.
Ian can.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Google Docs, but I haven't done it to. I mean, I've collaboratively made a Google Doc, but I've not done commenting and discussion on it.
Okay. Gary, you said yeah?
Yes.
Do you mind giving what was the context around adding the comments with a doc for you?
Well, mine wasn't great because I used a Google Doc. I created like a little template where they could put in what time they wanted to schedule an appointment with me,
Okay.
and then I could just comment back and say, "Great, see you at 9."
Cool. So I think what Gary's saying is commenting back, and I'll kind of give you an example here of what this looks like. I know Melinda, Mike, Gina, and I we have a grant with Jackson County ISD, and we had to kind of create a document. We couldn't meet in the same room with the Jackson folks and even with our Calhoun folks, so we kind of made a document and then spent quite a bit of time individually going through and adding comments. So to do that, if I wanted to add a comment to this text right here, I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And this is interesting. I'm actually viewing this as under my personal account. Let me switch over. So I can highlight the information and go to Insert and then Comment. Add my comment, and then I press comment, and then it highlights it and it puts my comment over here in the margin. So one of the things that I know Mike and I have done before is I'll share a document, kind of a rough draft with him. He'll add comments, and if I need to, I can do a couple things. I can go in and I can reply to that. You reply. Or if I read his note and I changed the word or I made the suggestion, I can mark it as resolved. So then the comment goes away. So what's interesting about this is if Chris and I are working on a document, I can add a comment, and if I add a comment to something that she added, it will send her an email, and it will say, "Hey, Mitch just commented on a document you are sharing. Click here to read it." So it kind of gives her a heads up that I added something.
Tim and Steve just did this today. We had some interview questions. We had an interview today, and I got all these emails with their comments, and I was at a different meeting up in Kalamazoo checking my emails, and they were having this conversation through these comments. So I didn't know what they were using, but now I know.
Yep. So honestly, adding those comments, this is what I used to do before comments were there, is I would go below and like in a different color.
Mm-hmm.
You add my stuff, but then the other person has to go in and delete it and then change the color, and so it's not very efficient, in my opinion. So that is adding comments, and then the other one is actually a discussion or a chat. And if you can see my mouse, I'm going to click on this little show chat button, and when I do that, a little chat box comes up in the bottom right, and this is just like a chat window that you would see. Actually, we have a chat window in our Google Hangout right now. You've got chat on Gmail, so if you wanted to chat back and forth between people, you could go ahead and use that that show chat and chat with some folks. So Gary, there you go. That's kind of a just a couple different ways as far as commenting and the discussions or the chat that you might be able to collaborate with Google Docs. Chris, you kind of gave us your thoughts about that. Anybody else see any implications for or comments?
Yeah, we actually did quite an extensive rubric. When I say we, I mean all the special education supervisors and myself, and had the need to get it out there real quickly to add comments to some questions that were placed on it. And so we sent it out to all 13 supervisors, and they could go in at any time and answer it, and it was done in, or could have been done in 2 or 3 days, which is very nice. That's an easy way to get lots of work done quickly.
So Lynn, the efficient part for you obviously was not having to have everybody at the table, and people being able to work on it kind of at their own pace.
Exactly.
Excellent. All right. So the other one, as far as collaborating, would be meetings, and you guys are actually participating in this right now. So I put a video to Google Hangouts as well as a website to how to do Google Hangouts, and I'm going to kind of reveal a little bit of my insecurity here. Is I'm actually not still entirely comfortable with Hangouts, and I'll say that because even today, when I started the Google Hangout, I probably shared the link with my private Gmail account 2 or 3 times just to check and make sure what I was doing was correct. I feel like with Hangouts, my understanding is a little behind. I've been burned a couple times where I've started a Hangout and like the link is not active, or I haven't set a share setting right. So I guess my 2 cents from Hangouts would be make sure you practice before you're going to host one.
So, Mitch, is there a difference between Google Hangout and Google Air?
I think we're getting some feedback. Okay. So one of the things with Google Hangouts is you have a Hangout, and you also have, so you have a Hangout is a video conference. So a Hangout on air is like what we're doing right now, which is a live, it's a live feed. And the reason I do this live feed is because it's automatically recording this, and it's going to post it to my YouTube page after we're done, so that Jim and Melinda and the folks who could can watch it. The other type of Hangout that is a Hangout that's not on air is one that it's not recorded. So the reason I chose the on-air one is because I wanted it to be recorded.
And so how do you do those differences?
Let me see here. All right. So I'm going to go to this plus Mitch from my email, and this is how I always start them. Then I'm going to go to Home, and I'm going to go to Hangouts. And we've got Hangouts on air or video Hangouts. So a video Hangout is not going to be recorded automatically. A Hangout on air is.
Great.
So, and then from there you just choose which one you want. You can start a video Hangout. And like I said, the part that is taking me some time to learn are all of the sharing settings. Sharing a Hangout to me is a humbling experience. I'll put it that way. All right, so organizational documents, this could be worded so much more eloquently than I have it here. I was thinking that if you have as an organization, if you have a shared drive or you have a bunch of documents, maybe HR has a bunch of documents or, whatever it is they need to document, Google Drive can be an awfully unruly place for all of those things to live. And so I found a couple of videos and a couple of websites that would help you think about how to organize your Google Drive into folders and different colors and ways to kind of clean that up.
That would be really helpful because I think we've labeled Google Drive as the Wild West in some instances. So that would be kind of nice. That's nice. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and I think I'll show you my drive. So here's my Google Drive. And honestly, it doesn't have much in terms of organization. What I usually do when I go to Google Drive is I usually search for a keyword. And that's not always the most efficient way to do it. So I know Melinda honestly has far more superior Google Drive organizational skills than I do. So
you said Melinda?
Yeah, Melinda does. Yep. All All right, and so then the last one here that I want to take a look at is called Trello. This is not part of the Google suite of services. It's a separate website. So let me go out here and show you what Trello does. And I'll log in. All right. So one of the things that Trello does is it's project management. So what you do is you have these boards, and each board is a different project. So for example, I have one here that's MTSS training. And so what you do is once you make this board, you start to add these cards. And so I'm going to go ahead and add a card. So I might say the first step in this multi-tiered system of support training is to design and send out flyer. Once I make that, that's one of my tasks in this project. And if I want to, I can change members, and that's kind of nice because if you have a task and you want to assign it to somebody, Ryan Miller and I collaborated to put together this multi-tiered system of support training a year ago, and so I would create some of these cards, and then I would kind of delegate that task to him by making him a member of the card. So then he gets a notification that I've added a card. You can add due dates. So this one is some nice project management software. One thing that Ryan would do is he would take this card and he would drag it over to doing. And so now we've got design and send out flyer is under doing. And so you can kind of get a feel for who's doing what in the project and where are they with that task.
What was that called again?
This one is called Trello, Trello. The big pros for me, one pro is being able to share these tasks with the group, and also this looks awesome on your phone. As a great smartphone app that is really intuitive, and it's pretty true to this website that you see here. So that is Trello, project management. All right, so I wonder, does anybody else have any kind of suggestions or topics around collaborating that you think would be worth adding to this document? Okay, well, if you have any, I believe you have access to be able to take this document and go to File, make a copy, and it will then be in your own, be in your drive, which may or may not be organized, and you can feel free to add your own stuff to it. Or, like I said, let me know so that when we do this for the next time, we can switch these up a little bit. All right. So I hope that those are a few collaboration tools you might consider using. The rest of this module is set up really the same way for as the other ones. We're hoping you're going to go through this book here. This book will walk you through basically the tools that I just showed you, but you'll have the videos will be embedded right in that book. If you want to watch a video on Trello or adding comments, it's right there. Next, we have this glossary. And so this glossary works the same way. You can add a new entry or whatever concept or tool you're thinking of choosing for your collaboration.
Can we go back to the glossary? I didn't understand. I did click the, it wouldn't let me post my comment because it said the word was used already. It was boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
So in the concept, boomerang is a generic term, so I just didn't understand, is it because it's so individualized that once one person uses it in a thread, you cannot use the word again?
That's correct. So we kind of talked about that. If you have, if anybody uses labels or Gmail labels, if you put the exact same text in, it's going to say, we're sorry, this glossary already has that entry.
This particular glossary, okay.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. So the thing Dr. Lunger and I talked about is if you have like Boomerang, you could just put Boomerang-Lunger or Boomerang version 2, or as long as it's a different, the text is different. That's a good thing to remember, though. Okay, so then we also have this activity planning document. It's the same idea as before. This is meant to kind of help you think through collaboration and what tools you might use to help increase collaboration efficiency. There is going to be an Add Submission button. So once you're done, if you have a Google Doc or if you have a Word document, you can just click Add Submission, upload that, and you will be all set. And then finally, your collaboration learning activity is where you will post a link to whatever your final artifact is. And if you're having trouble with this, let's say, for example, you select comments on a Google Doc. It would be totally appropriate for you to say, well, I don't really feel comfortable sharing the entire document with the group. So if you have questions about what to post here, just let me know and we can kind of talk about ways to share what you've done without actually sharing the entire product.
Do you have a deadline, a suggested deadline for that? I mean, I guess I forgot when our next meeting is a Google Hangout, correct? Is that
Yep.
the 23rd?
That is
29th.
the 29th.
All right, so we now, at least the 28th, we probably should have that done.
Yeah, I think in the course handbook, it was schedule. Yeah, so in the course handbook under schedule, I had just some suggested dates down.
You really do expect us to read that stuff?
What's that?
You really do expect us to read that then?
Well, no, but I put it up so I could point to it on a Google.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Okay, so the 29th, like last time, the 11th or whatever day in November, that's what we present as a face-to-face group.
Yep, and that will be on the 12th.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, well, if there isn't any more information for the good of the order, I guess I'll bring this hangout to a close. Good job, you guys all, nobody was injured in the making of this hangout, so well done. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to let me or Melinda know, but otherwise we'll see you on our next Google Hangout.
Thanks, Professor, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Hey, Mitch.
Yeah.
I can save it for another time. I had a question that doesn't relate to this, but I got forwarded about email from Dixie about data director that you had sent.
Okay.
You want me to touch base with you at a different time for that?
No, let's do it now.
Okay, so
hold on 1 second. Let me. Let's do this. I'm gonna stop this broadcast and
just start another one.
Will you give me a call? Well, is it something that you think you're gonna need to see?
Nope.
Or you just want to tell me? Okay. Give me a call on my cell phone. Are you ready? Let me know when you're ready for the number.
You're giving this to everyone on your YouTube channel?
Oh man, good point. I will. Anybody watching this after the fact, Gary Dancer gets a free pass for life from me. Gary, I will send you an email here when I log off, and we'll talk and we'll get it figured out.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah. See you.
Bye.
Bye.